Alrighty, y'all, so as I usually do, I went straight to the shoes, but the problem is there's only 4 tables and there's probably, seems like a million people digging through such a small supply. So I found a pair of these Crocs right here. Once you clean these up, these will probably a $20 sale. These Nike track and field throwing shoes. I usually do pretty good on these right here, but there's a little problem. There's a tad bit of separation right here, but this is a pretty easy fix. I've showcased the product on my channel, the Android Shoe Cement. Once you apply that right there, this will be probably a 5-10 minute fix, and I'm probably a $40, maybe $50 sale, because these usually do pretty good. I didn't find a ton of shoes, but when I stumbled across these, man, my heart started racing. But I knew it would probably end up being too good to be true. So these are a pair of Nike Jordan 1 Travis Scotts. And when I picked them up, they felt really light. And so what I usually do with shoes that I'm kind of unsure of, the first telltale is usually the tag. This tag is, I've looked at thousands of Nike shoe tags in my career, and this is just not even close to the font that Nike uses. But I wanted to do some other research too, just to double check. So I noticed this style code right here doesn't even go to this shoe. It goes to the Travis Scott Mochas. And so that was the final straw that I knew that these weren't any good. But if so, I think there's a lot of these on GOAT. $1,500, $4,500 on eBay. So would have been probably at least $1,000 sale, but so these are 2 pair of Liberty overalls. You can see this brand's been around a long time, since 1912. I found a couple weeks ago, and I've already sold one for 20 plus shipping. So they're not Carhartt. You don't make a ton on these, but I mean 20 plus shipping with only probably a $2 investment a piece. That works for me. It's a Taco Bell apron. Might keep this. I know you can get at least maybe 10-12 bucks for it. So maybe. This is a Brooks hoodie. So it's a marathon hoodie from 2017. I actually ran a marathon this very same year. Mine was in October though. So this might be pretty nostalgic for somebody, because if you ask me what's the hardest thing you ever had to train for or prepare for, I would definitely say a marathon. And it's something that I look back on with great pride, as they would say. So I'm pretty sure somebody who was in the race, participated in it, would definitely pick this up right here. Well, everybody watching knows that logo. Lululemon running shorts. No size tag. Huh. Weird, also no size dot. I'm gonna still measure it. Definitely not gonna leave these. They're in really good shape. But Lululemon has a size chart on their website, so you can basically measure across and you can kind of compare that to what they say the sizing should be. So that's pretty easy. So these are some Wrangler lined camel pants. You can see retail store only would have been $7, so pretty reasonable. I usually don't pick up Wrangler, but camo, I know it's pretty popular. And I'm guessing at least 15-20 bucks plus shipping on maybe, what, a $2 investment. Here's our Home Depot Pro hat. And you probably can get $10 plus shipping on this. Probably 25 cents here. I know people have been having success with picking up military or army pants. I picked up a pair last week just trying them out. So I think this is what I'm gonna do in this situation right here. Comp say they should be able to sell right around $20 maybe. Alright, y'all, so I spent $25 and a couple of notable items in that haul, but overall a pretty subpar day for the most part. And when we moved to Tennessee, I told you guys I wanted to document and show you all of the ups and downs of not necessarily starting my business over, but basically rebooting. And really two things that's been challenging to this point. And the first one is just the number of product that I'm able to find on one given trip to Nashville. For instance, in Portland, I was able to go to the bins 5 times because obviously I lived a lot closer. But on top of that, I could stay on average probably about 2 hours and I could find probably 30, maybe even 40 solid items on most days. Now, there are exceptions. I mean, with any location, you can go in and there just not be a lot of stuff there. But on average, I could find about 30 to 40 items in just probably the first 2 hours of the day. And those were items that I felt confident that I could sell for a decent amount. In Nashville, that's all changed. So it literally takes me about double, sometimes even triple the amount of time to find that same amount of product. So bins here open at 8 o'clock. By 10 on most days, I have a pretty big enough sample size. Now I've been shopping at this outlet for about 6 weeks now, and this is how it usually shakes out. So by 10 o'clock, after about 2 hours, I usually have somewhere between 10 to 15 items, and this is just digging and digging and digging. And I think the first reason for that is this is just a much smaller location to what I'm accustomed to having in Oregon. This store is probably only about a third of the size of the outlet that we had in Oregon. And so in hindsight, if it's smaller, it's probably just going to be less stuff. And then to factor that all in, there's just a lot of people jostling for good quality product, which you would probably find at every Goodwill bins across the country. And the second problem is the amount of shoes that I'm able to find per trip. So in Oregon, in a given week, I could probably find on average somewhere between 50 to 100 pair of shoes per week. And this was probably based on just shopping at the bins 4 or 5 days, coming up with probably 8 to 10 pair per trip. And then you guys seen me around town shopping at places like TC Resale, Deseret Industries, even though towards the end they started to drop a little bit, but then sprinkling in Ross and Burlington. So by the end of the week, I was able to find somewhere between 50 to 100 pair. Here on average, I've been finding probably about 5 pair of shoes per week. And the problem with that is the store's a lot smaller, but there's only 4 tables of shoes versus in Oregon, on any given day, we had 12 to 18 tables of shoes. And then there was probably only, like I've been saying here in the last few videos, there was only like 8 to 10 of us that went to shoes. The rest of the people went, you had the electronic guys, you had guys that were into vintage, guys that were into t-shirts. So not everybody just ran to shoes. Here in Nashville, it seems like 75 to 90% of the store goes to shoes. And to factor that in, you only have 4 tables. So unless there's some fluke day where only 3 people show up, you're probably not going to find many shoes here. So to remedy this, my wife and I have been kind of going back and forth trying to mitigate the problem, because there's always a solution to a problem. So we live closer to Bowling Green, Kentucky than I do Nashville, but I do most of my sourcing in Nashville, obviously, because it's a bigger city and you just have more sourcing opportunities. But there's a Bowling Green and a handful of, there's a Bowling Green. There's a Burlington and a couple of Goodwills in Bowling Green, and I've shopped at those locations a handful of times. You guys haven't seen it because I haven't done any filming. I've made a little bit of money at the Bowling Green Burlington, and then the Goodwill, I bought a handful of shoes there. But the main thing I brought Bowling Green up because there's a flea market there. It's They're supposed to have the largest indoor flea market in Kentucky, and so I'm going to venture into that. I think it's on Saturdays and Sundays. They open up at 9 a.m. So we're going to start checking that out on Saturday mornings just to see if I can kind of wrinkle in some more supply over there, because I don't care who you are, what you're selling, your reselling business is only as good as the supply you find. You can list items, have the best quality listing, but if people don't want the product, it's never going to sell. So it's a waste of time just to buy things, just to psych yourself out as if you found something. So that's what I'm doing just here in the short term, of trying to find just better shoes. I'm not so much worried about the clothing because I feel like that'll work itself out, because I built my business based off shoes. The reason we're in the position we're in, the reason we're able to move, the reason we're able to buy the home that we bought is based off a shoe business. I do sell clothes, as you guys have seen, but my business is about 80% shoes. And so that's what I'm looking to remedy here, probably in the next month or so, heading into 2025. Alrighty, y'all, so this is a Miami Hurricane baseball jersey, and these retail at 80 bucks, and I found one of these a couple of weeks ago and I sold it the same day for, I believe, 60 or 70 bucks. So I think the one I found was a large, but this one right here will still do pretty good, so a no-brainer pickup at, I believe these are $19.99. My surprise, these are really cheap. At most places I've seen them for $34.99. It's these Nike Therma full zip hoodies, and this is the perfect time of the year to be picking these up. And these are selling all day for 50 plus shipping. And there's 3 of them right here, all at 20. So I'm gonna grab these 3. So this is Edmonton Oilers. I believe this is Ryan Smith. And it's the 2005-2006 edition. These are pretty steep here, 80 bucks. But man, these are selling all day for 250. There's not even a lot of them out there.
This might be all that I know. Think it's okay. I've got a long way to grow. At my own pace. Go the long way. No one taught me how to walk, but I figured it out fine.